You just said something. You just said something, but let us correct that impression. You know, when you said the obedient movement or those who are obedient, they actually love in bringing down anything that has to do with Nigeria. You know, I'm part of obedient movement. Not some, you don't generalize it. The obedient people that love Nigeria, just like this issue of GTB Bank, we are saying that
we shouldn't generalize the issue.
Generalize and say that obedience are obedient, yes, that they always come up to bring down anything that has to do with Nigeria. No, there are many people miss the opportunity to maybe they claim to be obedient aspect of the society, but not everyone. They are the obedient movement.
Thank you.
Genuinely is for a better Nigeria, honestly speaking.
No, okay. Thank you for your submission, and I appreciate your submission. But let me just tell you something now. You and folks like you are the exception to the rule. People like you exist in that movement. It is true. There are smart people everywhere, but I'm saying you are the exception to the rule. One of the prerequisites that you have to fulfill to join Obidient movement is you only listen to what certain people tell you and then you join the mob. You and folks like you exist, but you are a rarity, right? You are the exception to the rule. If I want to prove that I'm an obedient, one of the things I must do is I must not think for myself. To think is to go against the will of the majority. And you know what you do is mob driven, right? One person just says something, nobody thinks about it, everybody just starts singing, and you can cancel anybody but from people from the Southeast. You don't cancel Southeasterners, by the way, you know, like it's a law. You don't. And I'm saying obedient. And even the Yoruba amongst you guys, and they're the ones that really need their brains checked, because this has happened before in history. It keeps happening again and again. One of the criteria that you have to fulfill to join Obidient movement is that you must be willing not to engage your brain. All the best to you, but I cannot say some obedience. I can say some obedience are smart, but I cannot say some obedience are dull. I can say some obedience are smart because they are the exception to the rule. The rule is that you're supposed to be dull. And I'm sorry if I sound a bit harsh. It's just that I've seen it play out. And I've seen it in history, and I'm seeing it again, and it's just nauseating to see that the mistakes that were made by certain people are being repeated. Do you know that people have stabbed Yoruba person has stabbed Yoruba people because of something similar, like an Igbo kind of thing? Say his ethnicity is tribalism. What do you hear from people in Obidient is tribalism? Igbo should be the next president. Says who? Says who? So yeah, I'm going to acknowledge the wise ones. Supporting a battle forever be worse. Forget these few ones here. I mean, like I always tell you guys, Obina, I'm not APC. I will criticize Tinubu if it doesn't do what I consider to be right. But all these policies are right. The one I had issues with was not even the policy, it was the timing. The fact that you're removing fuel subsidy and at the same time you're floating the naira. I can talk about that. It's not the policy that I have a problem with, it was the timing. I don't have a problem criticizing him when I have to, but I don't criticize him because I hate Nigeria or because my candidate did not win. So even if he's giving me money, I still cannot take it. Do you know how many opportunities have come out because of his policies that people have taken advantage of? But you guys think you are a party. You're not a party, you're a movement. And the sad part in Nigeria is that you have two groups playing opposition party. One is a movement, the other one is an ethnic group. It makes no sense. And the young, especially the young ones in these groups are supposed to be taking advantage of student loans, or the ones that should be taking advantage of the bilateral agreements that Nigeria has with Saudi Arabia, for instance, will say no, because they want to be true to the mob. If I go and take advantage of that thing, go be like I say, I don't betray everybody, so I just stay with these people. So Edith Young, if you're hearing me, I acknowledge people like you. Some of you are wise, but you are the exception to the rule. The majority of your group is just, they don't use brains. I'm serious, and I'm not even sorry to say it. They cancel anybody that doesn't agree. It's like a fascist organization. You don't agree with them, they don't cancel you. But if that person is from their region, they won't cancel him.
No, you're going extreme. Are we fascism? No.
Eddie Young.
No, we are not fascists. No.
It is a fascist. Hold on. It is a fascist organization that thrives on the inability of most of its members to think. And because they don't think, whatever somebody says, they sing it and everybody just says it. I've said the same thing to some APC members as well. Everybody just says something, everybody's shouting. Like, you have to pause and say, wait, you don't belong. By the way, most of this Obidient movement, most of them, and the Igbo as well, amongst them that do not insult him, they've already started. It doesn't take a long time. I know. I was waiting for you guys. Welcome. It doesn't take a long time for you to realize the fact that majority of them are not in any political party. A majority of them do not believe in Nigeria. All they have to think about is whatever you say that is making Nigeria good, they must find a way to put it down. That's not opposition politics. By the way, you cannot even play opposition politics because you are not a party person. Opposition should be left in the hand of politicians that can tackle themselves. You don't understand the game. You're just there constituting nuisance all over social media, insulting everybody. So, again, I'll let you speak now, then we can move on to the real topic. The point is that people like you do exist. There are smart people amongst your ranks, or within your ranks, but they are the exception. You know that majority of your people don't think. Like, we don't have to lie to ourselves. So please speak, and then we'll round up and move to the topic for today proper.
Thank you so much. Thank you, but you actually went extreme by saying that they operate like the Obidient movement operate like a fascist ideology or fascist way of governance. Then in Italy, no.
No. What is fascism? What's fascism?
You never reach fascism.
How can you say it's not fascism when you don't know what fascism is?
Because very soon I go say we are Nazis.
No, you never reach that one. But you are not far from it. See, the thing is, your movement is a totalitarian political ideology. It's an authoritarian and totalitarian political ideology. Right? No, and that's the reason you can never have power, by the way. You can't. Because if you do, you exist to crush anything that doesn't align with you. Do you know how many businesses were lost, or how many people lost their businesses, and some whose livelihood was threatened by Obidient, just because those people.
The Obidient movement for those. You're mistaking it for those who are agitating for. You're mistaking Obidient movement for secessionists. Honestly speaking, maybe many people who.
Eddie Young, you're not listening. Let me tell you what has happened.
They hide under the guise of Obidient, then push for their secessionist idea. But a real Obidient fan or Obidient, let me put it that way, they are not secession, they don't believe in balkanizing of Nigeria. Let me put it that way.
Hold on, Eddie Young. Have you heard the word? Hold on. Have you heard the word strawman before? Strawman in arguments. What you're doing right now is called strawmanning. You're strawmanning me. Like, I did not mention secessionists. I did not mention IPOB. That's not my point. You have just created something that I did not even talk about, and you're arguing against that thing. That's a strawman. The point is this: the organization is totalitarian. They don't care about democracy. It's either their way or the highway. And then if you don't go according to their kidney, you are cancelled. That's fascism. That's one. Number two, the people you are talking about that, they are IPOB, they want to balkanize. Let me tell you something. All of them, except a very tiny percentage, joined Obidient movement during the last election. All these IPOB people, except a very tiny percentage, joined. The secessionists suddenly stopped talking about secession as soon as they saw Peter Obi. We know how this thing played out. I mean, it was just a few years ago. We're still here. The point is that the people who are trying to secede from Nigeria dropped their secessionist agenda or whatever, activism, and joined Peter Obi. That is why every time they ask Peter Obi about IPOB, did you not see the way he answered the question? He would never complain. He would say things like, we are from the same place, I live with them. Although he lives in Lagos, I don't know where inside living in Russia. Anyway, I live with them. You know, he would never condemn the actions of IPOB or ESN. They are the same to a very large extent. As far as political movement is concerned, they morphed everything into it, and as soon as they lost, they began their ridiculous agitation all over again, and they will continue for another 50 years. Nothing good will come out of it. The point is that you are using propaganda, you use censorship, you emphasize an authoritarian kind of politics, you suppress dissent, and you believe in the superiority of one group over others. That's fascism. And I'll say this to you: the people who are leading you know exactly what they're doing. It's just that you guys are being led, so you don't see it. Obidient will not speak against the East. Obidient will never speak against IPOB. Obidient will always find it very easy to castigate Yoruba politicians, would never go against Igbo politicians. These are the same people, for instance, one of them called Adams, then that took knife and stabbed Professor Saburi Biobaku because of Njoku. And by the way, they will use you against your people, but you never question why they don't speak against their own people. It's amazing. You are and by the way, see, I'm not even angry with Igbo people who are in Obidient movement. I mean, Peter Obi is Igbo, so it's natural that it's ethnic. But you're Yoruba, and you have never sat down to ask yourself, how come the only people they attack are from my place? Are you telling me that every other place around, they have better leaders than the guys in the Southwest? You've never thought about it. You've never thought about the fact that the leaders in the East probably have things that they're also working on. You will not criticize the Southeast, you will not criticize IPOB, you will not talk about ESN. Nothing they do is wrong. But as soon as you hear Yoruba or something from the Southwest, that's when your head do now. This other guy, Obi Kubana, the Kubana priest guy, he was wearing Tinubu cap. Nobody insulted him, not one. Everybody just watched him, and everybody just let somebody say something. Say, oh, you are tribalist. But what happened to Kubana priest? He's fine. He can do it. You cannot insult him. Again, if you are from the East and you are in Obidient movement, I get it. Like, I mean, I understand. But if you're a Yoruba person in that movement,
in the South, what about us in the South? The former Southeastern.
I don't care. I don't see if you are from. See,
you
if
know
you're from the
Southeastern state, right? The Southeastern.
No, there was just South. I know. That's question about Nakwebom. If you are from the former South, wait now, Southeast state. If you're from the former Southeast state and you support Obidient movement, that's your business. But if you support IPOB, you are very dumb. If you support Obidient movement as someone from the South from the Akwa Ibom and Cross River State, that's your right. I mean, see, if you're a Yoruba person, it's not like you have the right to support anything you want to support. But my question to Yoruba people in Obidient movement is that, have you ever sat down to ask yourself, why is it that these guys attack only folks from my place? Have you ever sat down to think about it? That's my question to Yoruba people in Obidient movement.